We've been in the...
All right. Obviously, the conversation's been very lively while you've been away, but welcome back to today's topic, Proposition 227, the Bilingual Education Initiative. I'm Perry Parks, your host. We encourage you to participate in our discussion with our guests, because they've been participating without you, for sure. Once again, the viewer call-in number is area code 310-216-3590. Again, that's area code 310-216-3590. Our state has approximately 1.4 million English-speaking students. That's more than the total public school population of about 38 states. It is estimated that there is only one bilingual teacher for every 92 students, leaving a high percentage of children without any special assistance to obtain fluency in English. Governor Pete Wilson just vetoed a bill passed by the State Assembly that would have given local schools the freedom to implement bilingual instruction according to their needs. Will a state-controlled mandate be more successful than leaving it up to local schools to decide what the individual needs are for their non-English speaking students? So, I mean, I think that we've kind of arrived at that juncture here, and what are your takes on that? Will a state initiative really be more effective than allowing local control of the issue, of this particular issue?
Well, one of the reasons I feel that the governor vetoed that is because there would be the status quo. Just continue the same thing. See, what started the initiative in the first place? It was parents that boycotted a school for over 2 weeks because they were refused their chance of moving their kids into English-only classes. They were tired of having their kids come home with homework, everything in Spanish. When are they going to learn English? And after 2 or 3 years, no, this is the problem.
Right.
So they decided that, hey, I want my kids in English classes. I don't want them to work like, I talked to a parent that's working in the sweatshops there on 7th and Maple in the garment district. She doesn't want her child to be there. When is he going to learn English? I don't know that much English. I'm forced to do this. What's wrong with teaching kids English as soon as possible?
But we have 180
Jose,
days.
we have let's get Estella. Estella,
Right.
Welcome to Media One-on-One.
Good evening. How are you all?
Good. Do you have a question for our guest?
Well, a comment and a question. What I see is a lot of people getting all hyped up about bilingual education and demanding it. As a Hispanic, I say, why? Who are we to demand bilingual education? As a child, when I was growing up, there was no such thing as bilingual education. I spoke primarily Spanish as a child. In the household, it was nothing but Spanish. And, of course, I went to school and learned English. As you can see, I speak English very well, and I'm proud to say I speak Spanish very well as well. I didn't lose either one of my languages or the culture. And why is it mostly the Hispanics that are demanding bilingual education? I don't see Orientals demanding it. I don't see any other races making such a big deal about it.
Well, let me go to Jose with that question, Estella. Dominated by Spanish for sure, given the size of the population.
Absolutely.
Is there concern on the part of other ethnic foreign language speaking minorities?
There is concern. First of all, let me address the first part, then I'll go ahead and do that. As far as who are we, what are we are also voters, we are taxpayers, we are in this country. I came here to this country when I was 8 years old, also went through a bilingual program. I'm able to either both speak English and Spanish, so yeah, I wanted it, I got it, it works. And then as far as other ethnicities, other races that are working on this, I went to a press conference which was held last week at Castro Elementary, in particular the Chinatown area, and there was media from Korea, from China, from a variety of different Asian-speaking languages, and they were adamantly opposed to this. They had a press conference there with reporters and representatives from every different sector of the Asian community. So they are very concerned. Obviously, we don't see them as much. We're not in tune with it because they are a small group within the bilingual education program. And anytime you look at bilingual education, it's going to be focused towards Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans.
How many different languages are spoken in the LA Unified School District? Is there any?
Well, when I was at Birmingham, we had 42 different nationalities.
Up to now, the languages that are spoken in LA Unified, the last I knew, there were 87. 87 different languages.
And the only basic one, the Latino, gets put into these 3 or 4 years of bilingual stuff and the others are put into English only, and guess what the results are at the end of the 2 or 3 year period?
But that is because we do not have the funding. We have 1.4 million students that need this type of education.
Yeah, and only a third are getting it.
We are only getting 30%.
Only a third are getting it. This would bring them all under the umbrella of immersion.
Mr. Gradillas, if you implement this proposition and you only fund it at 30%, how do you think it will function?
Who's going to fund it at 30%?
Well, whatever you do, if you only put 30% of the effort into it, it is not going to function.
Let's move then to this question. Let's assume for a moment here that the initiative passes and it goes into effect. I guess it's going to be January.
No, within 2 months after
2 months. Okay, 60 days. Okay,
60
it goes
days.
into effect
So
in
by
60
September,
days.
when the next school year starts,
Okay,
they should be
all right,
implementing
so
this
June,
if it passes.
so by September of 1998, it would have to be implemented. What are the consequences of that particular implementation? What can a parent look forward to, or what should a parent be anticipating with an implementation happening in 60 days?
They can be expecting complete chaos. I have gone out to the different school districts throughout California talking to superintendents on their interpretation of the initiative and what they expect will happen, given the fact that the initiative is so vaguely worded. Okay, it's so vaguely worded, and if that were the only issue, we might be able to resolve it. But school districts have to figure out how to implement this program, how to completely eliminate, because it's going to be costly, to eliminate what they currently do and implement a new program within 60 days with the threat of a lawsuit if they fail to implement this vague statute. Who will come in and sue them? People like Mr. Gradillas, people like Mr. Unz, who will want to make an example out of the school districts that have a true commitment to teaching their students English. It will be complete chaos, not only for the limited English proficient students, who, according to this initiative, can be warehoused for an entire year. And your last caller says, we Hispanics want bilingual education. No, equality of education, access to the core curriculum that all the other children are having. Proposition 227 is not about bilingual education. It's about warehousing children for an entire year and denying them academic instruction.
Henry, so it's now June 8th. The initiative passed. And you were principal, so putting that principal's hat on, what do you see would have to occur between June 8th and September to have your school plant ready to implement this particular
progressive districts, okay, progressive districts have already got a lot of plans going on right now because they knew this was coming way back in, in the summer of last year. If they've waited this long, yeah, they're going to have some problems if they waited for the last, some are waiting saying hopefully it's defeated. But that's ridiculous. I mean, there should always be plans, and that's what's wrong with some of the districts. You know, they're not planning hard enough. What I see is this, and I really mean this because I've been to these schools and I've seen it. It shouldn't be any chaos whatsoever. You keep the same teacher assistants. Now you just tell them you're going to keep your same pay for what you're doing, but now you're going to concentrate on English for these kids rather than Spanish. I was in a class where the teacher met these kids and said, "Buenos días, alumnos, ¿cómo estamos? ¿Cómo pasaron la semana? Vamos a hablar sobre los colores," and started teaching the colors. Everything was in Spanish, and I waited to see, was this the introduction? No. English is only taught there for 1 hour a day. Instead, Spanish is taught for the remaining of the school day.
No, but is that a management issue? Is that a
yes, it's management. And now all the teachers got to do is use it the other way around. Spend 60 and 80% of the time teaching the same class that she has in her room in English rather than in Spanish.
But that's not what the initiative calls for. That is not what where does it say 80% English and 20% Spanish?
Or 90%.
You don't say that. It does not say that on the initiative.
Time out. We have Elaine here. Let's get another viewer's perspective on this. Elaine, welcome to Media One-on-One.
Good evening to all of you. I'm very concerned about this Spanish-English program. Frankly speaking, I would prefer that the children learn to speak more Asian languages. After all, they are the ones who carry most of the money and most of the business. I think we're putting too much emphasis on American people having to speak Spanish, and frankly, I resent it. And that's all I have to say. Good luck on the answer.
All right, thank you.
I agree with that. But you see, the Asian culture, they will learn, the parents will take the responsibility of keeping that culture alive. I know that they have Japanese school on Saturdays. My association with many of the Asian, when I was here in Alhambra, in Monterey Park, is that they want the schools to teach their kids English so they'll have a much better shot at moving on, like she is saying. And why shouldn't we teach you know, kids other language other than Spanish. But what I'm saying, it's easy.
What you're pointing to now here is you make reference to the fact that the Japanese culture will keep the culture alive. Now, is that to say that the Latino culture won't, or any other group will not keep the culture alive?
No, but there is some fear that if you do not continue, that the schools, if they do not continue to provide language maintenance in Spanish for their kids, that the kids will be too Anglicanized. They will begin to learn English too well and will forget their culture. And I'm saying to them, you know, why would you like language maintenance at the expense of English? I sure want one for my kids. I want them to learn English and they're going to live here well enough and hopefully maintain their culture. Hopefully.
Jose, is that